Clicking on the video. My name is David Pendleton, and I'm going to cover the Christmas Park Tournament. This is going to be rookie, and it's going to be the front nine wind in the opening round. So this is the second round. First of all, let me start by saying, Merry Christmas Eve to everybody who celebrates the holiday. If you don't, you celebrate something else. Happy holidays to you. I hope that you have a safe, awesome, holiday season. And I really appreciate you taking time to click on this video. So I'm excited to share these replays with you. If I could have just hit some perfect shots on these first few holes, we could have had a lot better front nine, but I'm going to take a minus 13. To be honest with you, we pump ourselves up to like a minus 26, minus 27 heading into the finals. We're going to be in really good shape as this is a tough tournament. If you're not a subscriber, give me that Christmas present. Subscribe. Hit the thumbs up button for me. That would be awesome. And if you like my content and you like to hook me up with a stocking stuffer, you can check out the comments below and you can find a link to my PayPal, and that would also be much appreciated too, if you have the means to do so. All right, so let's go. Hole number one, you're going to get to see every single wind angle on all the shots, and we'll talk through a couple of these misses real quick so you can see what to do differently. Now, the one thing I would advise you here in rookie on this hole, especially in tailwind, okay? Use yourself 1 bar of backspin, especially if you're playing with like an extra mile level 8 where you have a more powerful club. Use that 1 bar of backspin, use 2 bars of left side spin, and use a little bit of curl and just land this ball on the fairway. Now, the thing is, if you don't have a decent level sniper, make sure you use your big dog on shot number 2. We are just trying to make sure that we get ourselves on the green. But if you have yourself a sniper like I do here, you're able to give yourself a really good opportunity to drop this shot. So you're going to see how I end up lining up here, I should say. Using a little bit more than 1 bar of backspin. And I do have my ball guideline pointing directly at the middle of the hole. This is a normal shot with no overpower. And we get so close again to dropping this one in for the eagle. So what do we do differently if I'm you, okay? So notice here I got this played 10% at medium distance. You could continue to play this 10%, line up exactly where I did, but play it at minimum distance, so that way you pull less rings to the left. That's one thing you could do. Or you could play the shot exactly like I did and change the elevation to 0. That would also make you pull less rings to the left. Therefore, we wouldn't be missing left. So that's what I would do on that one, but that's a very tough hole to drop. Okay, brings on the hole number 2. 10% elevation. I will say you don't have to use a kingmaker on this hole. As a matter of fact, I would probably advise against it since the ball is so good. We don't really need this on this hole. What would I use differently? I would probably use a katana here. But if you have kingmakers to spare, then I would use kingmakers. But that's only if you have a lot of them to spare, because we are going to get a lot of headwind on the front nine. So here we hit ourselves a perfect ball, and all we're trying to do is just land on any part of the fairway. Don't overplay the shot. Don't end up in the sand. Don't end up in the rough. Shot number 2, the reason that I do like the power 3 ball here is, like I said, we're getting a little bit of headwind, and what I really want to do is get the ball up to the right-hand side of the fairway. So I like to play in rookie to the right-hand side of the bunker. But again, here, I'm just playing the wind 1 for 1. So if you get a 4 mile per hour wind, I play at 4 rings. If you get 3.2 mile per hour wind, I play at 3.2, which is essentially 10% at mid. Okay, now hole number 2. Hole number 2, this one right here, you're going to see this replay at 0% elevation. Remember, this is 0%. I put in the graphic, you need to play at 10%. And here's why. Alright, so you notice here, I've got the ball guideline going through the hole, favoring the left-hand side of the pin. And I'm doing that because we're getting a wind push to the right. Again, this is a 10% pull. I'm sorry, this is a 0% pull. Perfect ball. I played it at mid, and even though I favored the left-hand side of the cup, I still missed it to the right-hand side with a perfect ball. That's why I want you to add 10% elevation to this shot. Had I played the shot at 10% elevation, this ball would have been in the cup. So learn from my miss, okay? It's always great when I can hit perfect and then tell you what you need to do whenever I miss. So, okay, hole number 3, 10% at mid, 4 bars of backspin, 1 spin to the left. Let me fast forward this here because when I pulled my rings here, I pulled it sniper numbers on accident, and then I realized, wait a minute, that's way too many rings for a backbone, so I restart my shot. Okay, but 4 bars of backspin, 1 bar of side spin to the left with a navigator. I'm playing this 10% at mid. Take a look at my landing spot here. I'm aiming 1 green square before the pin, and I'm aiming on the outside left edge of the cup. That ball guideline is not in the hole. It is pointed to the left of the cup. This is another perfect ball. And that one really stinks. So what do we need to do differently? Couple things. 1, you could offset a little bit more. Or 2, when I play around with the numbers, had I played this one at 15% elevation at mid distance of the club, that ball would have been in for a hole-in-one. So I suggest you offset exactly where I do and then play this thing at 15% elevation at mid distance, and you'll be close. Not saying it's going to go in for every single person who watches, but we're going to be very close for sure. Okay, brings us on to hole number 4. Hole number 4 is play 10% elevation. Again, this is not a hole that you need to use a Kingmaker on. I would highly suggest using a Katana unless you have Kingmakers to burn. A Kingmaker, a Katana, a Navigator, any ball here is completely fine. I wouldn't use a Marlin unless you have to, but any ball here is completely fine. Don't use a Marlin, don't use a Quasar. Quasars stink. The wind resistance is terrible. But I was just trying to see if I could really reduce the wind on shot number 2 and pick us up an extra drop as I played my other account with the Navigator, and it was completely fine. It was actually the same result on both accounts. Regardless what you do, the drive is going to look the same. All we're trying to do is get to this part of the fairway, okay? Do not push this drive and push this ball any further up on the fairway. You don't want to land up by the rough because then you have a weird shot to pin. When you land this way, you have a direct shot to pin. 10% elevation. I played it at mid distance, and I think the biggest key here, just like any shot in the game, is you need to hit perfect. All right, so notice we're getting a pretty bad wind here for a rookie on this hole. Not that the wind is high, but we don't ever want headwind mixed with right to left on this hole, which is why you see me aiming where I'm aiming. You see here, I'm favoring the left-hand side of the pin. Sorry, I can't talk today. It's too early. I got up at 4 o'clock to start working on this stuff for everybody on Christmas Eve. Okay, favoring the right-hand side of the cup. You can do this, Dave. 10% elevation at mid-distance. All you got to do is hit perfect. Oh my gosh, but I don't. And look at that. Barely missed. Obviously, perfect ball in the cup, picking up an eagle. So you can see here, if I would have played a little bit better on the first 5 holes, we would have been a lot better off. Hole number 5 here, 10% elevation at mid. This is where David screwed up. David wanted to play this hole with a backbone. David didn't have a backbone in his bag. So I'm playing with the Goliath. It actually works out really well. So, okay, I want you to notice one thing on this hole. This hole has a sticky spot on the green. So notice I haven't done anything with spin yet. And as I move my target around, look what my ball guideline does. See how it kind of like, it wavers around really strange? I want you to move your ball guideline until it evens out and it starts pointing directly at the pin. Then apply your spin. Notice here a little bit of backspin, a little bit of side spin to the right. Look where I'm aiming. Okay, so right here I'm aiming. See that dark green square? I'm aiming right on the edge of it, kind of where the dark green square would meet with the dark green square. So right on the seam. Remember, this is 10% at mid. So close again. Okay, the only thing I want you to try to do, and I don't know if this is going to work because this is a hard hole to get a hole in one on whenever you can't dial it in, I would like you to add 1/2 of a bar, a side spin to the right. So same landing spot, 1/2 of a bar, side spin to the right. Okay, hole number 6, I'm going to give you 2 different ways to play it. This is going to depend on your club level. This is right here, a very safe way to play it. 20% elevation. 20% when we play from the left-hand side. Very important to remember. And from here, we're just trying to hit the ball up as high on the fairway as we can, but using a controlled shot. We don't want to risk overpower because we cannot afford our ball to land in the rough or clip the rough. The more distance on this drive, the better. As you can see there, plenty of fairway to work with. You do need to bring your big dog for shot number 2. Big dog, shot number 2. Here's what it looks like. 10% elevation at max distance of my big dog here. We are getting a little bit of headwind, so which means I need to start off with my target a little further back, which is what I start to do here. I bring it back a little bit so I can adjust my rings. The only thing that I should have done differently on this hole is everything is played correctly. I should have added left curl. Left curl here could have gave me a chance to drop this shot. Not that I'm expecting an albatross when I play this way at all. I feel like it would be very lucky to get it, but a left curl would have helped. Or you can go this route if you got the club and you got the firepower. Use a Titan. Do not use a Kingmaker because we don't want to reduce the wind. We are getting just a sliver of tailwind, and we want to make sure that we can fully take advantage of it. When we play from this side, we play at 10% elevation. So we do play it differently. So you can see here I'm using a little bit of overpower, not a lot. I'm using enough to where I still have a very controlled needle because, again, we don't want to slip up and hit a nasty great ball and end up in the rough. This is exactly how we want this drive to go. Now, if you execute the drive from here, you're going to have an extremely good chance to get yourself an albatross. We also play this one 10% elevation, okay? For me here, I decided to play it around the mid distance of my club. I actually played it right between mid and max. So just make sure you check your own distance. So I think I pulled that one like 2.8 rings, something of that nature. Perfect ball. I mean, it's so close, everybody. I mean, come on. How many close shots can the game give us till they let us drop one, right? But here we go. Now we're talking about dropping some shots. So we're going to drop hole number 7. We're going to get the hole-in-one again on Rookie Division. Here's what's really nice about this. I'm using a backbone with a katana, okay? Full back spin, 2 bars of right side spin. I want you to notice here my yellow ring is in the fringe with the green ring. Okay, so you see here the green ring, like the ring inside the yellow ring, it is directly on the fringe line. Now that's going to be a little bit different depending on your level of your backbone, but what I'd like you to really pay attention to is the second bounce. The second bounce is 1. So sometimes this helps people. I get a lot of good feedback when I do this through my Facebook. That's where a lot of people message me at. Okay, so dark green. So the hole is in the dark green square. Okay, so like that square right there is dark green. So that's 1 dark green, 2 dark green, 3 dark green. I'm in the 4th dark green row with my second bounce in the corner. Okay, it's in the corner of the dark green row, and the 3rd bounce you see there in the middle of the dark green row. This setup works. It's always typically worked in these wind angles. But the biggest thing here, and this is, thank goodness I take notes in previous tournaments and I kept them. When you get this wind angle, we need to pull this shot at a 1201 pull angle, all right? So if you're not familiar with what that means, 1201 pull angle would be no different than reading a clock. So the wind arrow blowing straight north, that's 12. Okay, if we let it go here, 11:59. If we let it blow right here, 12:01. So if you hear somebody say 12:01 pull angle, that's what it means. Basically, we are going to eliminate this. So you know whenever you go to pull your rings, you always want the wind arrow to be north, but it never sits still. It is always going to flicker. Sometimes it flickers really fast and it bounces between 11:59, 12, and 12:01. Sometimes it's a little slower and steady. What we want to do on this shot is pull it at exactly 12 or 12:01. We do not want to allow that wind arrow to flicker to the left-hand side at all. If we do, it's probably going to miss left. You're still going to pick up the birdie. It's not like you're going to screw up the hole, but in order to get this ball to drop, as you can see here, we got the left-hand side of the cup, even though we pulled with our wind arrow blowing to the right. I know that's a little bit more advanced to talk through for a rookie, but if I can start teaching you how to do that, you're going to become a way better player as you start to move up in pro and expert and all that kind of stuff. All right, that was a lot, but I think it's important. Hole number 8, let's go. Hole number 8, 10% elevation, very easy. 4.5 bars of top spin, using some left side spin. 10% elevation at mid-distance of my driver. 1/2 of a ball of curl to the left-hand side. Push, 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 let's go. Shot number 2, very inconsistent ball. Guideline on this green, very glitchy. It is really a shame the game hasn't fixed this at this point. But here I was actually able to find a good spot. Because of the wind push, I do favor the left-hand side of the cup. So just outside the left-hand side edge. Great shot to the right. It's not going to do me any good. Missed to the left. So, inconsistent green. Tough eagle to hit. Not impossible, but we don't hit it many times. Even back in the day when we dialed in shots. So we're taking the birdie, and I know some of you watching are going to get that eagle, and I'm going to be very happy for you. 10% elevation at mid-distance of my driver, all right? Take a very controlled shot, everybody. Come on, guys. No sand, no bunker. Hit perfect, 1/2 a ball of curl to the right. We got to get this ball up here, because if we do, this is one of the best albatross chances that we're going to get in this tournament, and if we can pick it up, we really need it. Minus 10% elevation. Uphill shot, minus 10%. With an offset to the right-hand side. Anytime we got this wind angle in the past, we had the offset to the right-hand side. So as you can see here, my ball guide line, like the left edge of my ball guide line is touching the right edge of the cup. That's my offset. Minus 10% elevation at mid-distance. So, you know, this wind was 3.2, and you get a lot of rookie players who play a sniper 1-for-1, which means we would have pulled 3.2 rings if you play a sniper 1-for-1. That's why you cannot do that. You're going to notice here, I believe we only pulled this 2.8 rings. Yeah, like 2.7, 2.8. So not even close to 1-to-1 for a sniper. And we are dead center smack in the pin for an albatross. That's the rookie front 9. Be patient with me today. I have to work, and it's Christmas Eve. I'm gonna work on the rookie back 9 right now. I'm gonna get pro up as soon as I can. Hopefully tonight. If not, I'm gonna get up early on Christmas Day. Don't tell my wife, and get it done for you guys. Okay. I hope you like it. Please subscribe. It would mean a lot to me. And again, Stocking Stuffer PayPal link is at the bottom in the comments. Have a good day, everybody.